give my vote.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino.
Late nights on the screen, hey, it's Grant and Ryan. We bleed purple, talking hoops, never lying. Sacramento Kings, we rise and we fall. If you don't like that, then you don't know ball. Jerry sitting with the stories of the game, spilling all the truth, driving legends insane. From the Cow Palace days to Arco's roar, this town's heart beats on the hardwood floor. If you like that, turn away now. Kings and
Oh, I've been muted. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. I've been muted. That's why everybody is hitting me up. They're like, dude, you're on mute. Rhino, we can't hear a word of what you're saying. Rhino, what are you doing? I have been muted. Oh my gosh. Listen, look at you, look at all you. I usually wait to go to the chat. I have been muted. Okay, I get it, y'all. You guys have been trying to call me and tell me that I've been muted. It's been that kind of Friday. All right, we're going to start over then. We are totally going to start this show over. So, all I said was, I am battered. I am bruised. I am running on fumes, but we made it. We're here. It's Friday. Look at me making mistakes on a Friday. My bad, y'all. Thanks for picking me up. I'm wondering why all these people are calling me. Holy crap. Anyways, thank you. Sorry. Welcome. Friday, King's Court. Huge win for Stockton last night. We're going to talk about it. My man Dennis left me with a couple of bruises. We've got some stories. He walked up to the line, but didn't quite cross it. It's actually fun watching a basketball game with him. We are giving away a pair of tickets to the game on Sunday, the Western Conference Finals, Sunday, 6 p.m. My boy Brandon down in Stockton with the Kings got us set up. So we've got 2 lower bowl tickets to give away today. Not sure how I'm going to do it, but we're going to do it. We're going to give you a pair of tickets to go see Stockton this weekend, Western Conference Finals. What a night last night in Stockton. I'm not going to do the whole open again. We'll get into it. Kings, Hornets. I basically said, let me paraphrase for you what I said. I don't blame you as a Kings fan if you're broken, if you are just like, I'm done with it. I get it. I understand it. I'm not judging it. All I'm saying is we need to get to a point where it is nothing in the middle. We got to get out of basketball purgatory. Now we're looking at DeMar DeRozan, who may be looking for clarification. Not a big deal. Not anything unexpected that we haven't talked about on this show. We know Sabonis is going to be seeking the same. By the way, Domantas Sabonis, a late addition to the injury report with his right ankle soreness. We'll keep an eye on that. The Stockton Kings are in the Western Conference Finals. They won last night. We're going to go over it. So you know what? Let's start this thing over. Let's start it right. My bad. What up? Wednesday, Kings Court. End the week strong. Royal Rumble Friday, which means get in here anytime that you want. Anytime that you want. We can talk about whatever you want. And like I said, we will be giving away a pair of tickets to go see the Stockton Kings tonight. So let's get after it. We're restarting. Let's go. Kings Court starts now.
Late nights on the screen, hey, it's Grant and Ryan. We bleed purple, talking hoops, never lying. Sacramento Kings, we rise and we fall. If you don't like that, then you don't know ball. Jerry sitting with the stories of the game, spilling all the truth, driving legends insane. From the Cow Palace days to Arco's roar, this town's heart beats on the hardwood floor. If you don't like that, turn away now. Kings in our blood, we
Adam Fink is no longer with us. Just want to remind you of that. Sorry about that, y'all. Now we have a proper start to Royal Rumble Friday. What's up, Ryan in Sacktown with you, taking you up to the start of the Kings and the Hornets. But unforgettable night last night in Stockton. The Stockton Kings beat the Valley Suns. The guy that I have been talking about, Ty Washington for the Valley Suns. Incredible player. Incredible G League player. He's not going to be an all-star or anything in the NBA, at least I don't think, but he is a name that you are going to be hearing soon in the NBA, especially with that Phoenix team as they move more towards a rebuild. But Mason Jones, 47 points last night. Clutch as hell, my man Mace. And he was fighting through a little bit of soreness with his hip. He was working on his hip on the sideline. And you know who else came through? Scal, the BCA, had a huge night last night. So the Stockton Kings move on to Sunday's Western Conference Finals, which they will host against the Austin Spurs. We're giving away a pair of tickets for you to go see that today. Not sure how I'm going to do it, but we're going to give you a pair of tickets to go see the game. I will be down there on Sunday as well. So we'll talk more about that game here in a little bit. Kings Hornets, as we said off the top. Now, what I said when I was muted is it is not a guarantee that the Kings are going to make the play-in. And I know that's music to some people's ears, but Phoenix is only a game behind the Kings right now. One game behind the Kings. Both teams in action tonight. Phoenix is in Boston. We know where the Kings are at. The Kings are in Charlotte playing the Kings right now with a net rating that is 0.0. It just refuses to go negative for whatever reason. I guess a little bit of luck on their side, but the effort that you saw the other night, just absolutely pathetic. To me, as a Kings fan, I can understand why you would feel disrespected. Why you're like, you know what? It's it. It doesn't matter. It does not matter the rest of the season. I understand that feeling, but this team has just been bipolar enough that you don't know exactly what's going to happen. Do they make a little bit of noise? My biggest fear through all this, and I'm not going to get far into the offseason and what the Kings are going to do. My biggest fear is that the Kings make a little noise because I don't want Vivek. I don't want Monty. I don't want anybody hanging on to any type of false hope, that there is something really positive that came from this season to build around. There's just not. And the Zach LaVine thing, it's part of what I said when I was muted. It's still, as we get further and further away from it, clearly something is off there. The chemistry is not working right now. I can't even say chemistry. That's not fair to teams with chemistry. This Zach LaVine and Sacramento pairing has been awful. You downgraded from De'Aaron Fox. And Zach LaVine doesn't even have the same. De'Aaron at least had a skill set that nobody else had. What's Zach LaVine's skill set right now? I don't know it. I do know that it's very inconsistent, and you are stuck with that money. And so the fact that Monty McNair went away from his guns, to me, and I've never had this conversation with Monty, but it was pretty clear. One of the things Monty McNair refused to do, was to put a bad contract on the books. And you decided to do it and rush the Fox thing? I mean, think about how much better of a spot you are in this summer if that contract's not on the books. We're having a completely different conversation. So I said I'm not going to get ahead of it, but it does make you wonder, did it go back to Vivek, who has just been in love with Zach LaVine for so long? Insane. So anyways, we'll talk about that. Domantas Sabonis, right ankle issue, listed now on the injury report for the Hornets, who are absolutely terrible. Dennis put in the chat that they are 12-26 on their home court. Net rating, -8, 2-8 in their last 10. Sounds like a perfect recipe for beating the Kings. How about this from Bobby Marks yesterday? The three teams, and Dallas ended up winning. The three teams, Dallas, Sacramento, Phoenix, vying for the 2 play-in spots, now have lost 8 games in a row. It will increase to 9. The Mavericks ended up winning, though, so it did not. How about that? This is just why you need to get rid of the play-in altogether. Get rid of it. Take the best 8 teams from each conference and just do it like you used to do it, because you have teams that are completely in turmoil, underwater. I respect Anthony Davis for coming back. A lot of people don't understand why he did. He's got a very strong relationship with Nico Harrison, which dates back to Nico's days at Nike. He wanted to show some commitment, some hope to that Dallas fan base. They've only lost a couple games since he's been back. So, okay, I see you, but you're still 38-39. The Clippers, okay, you're 12 games over 500. Minnesota, who lost last night. Or no, did they lose last night? Excuse me. I don't know if I do know that Anthony Edwards rolled his ankle. We'll talk about that. They are 13 games over 500. And no, they did not lose last night. They won. They've won 4 straight. They're rolling. But the Eastern Conference, here's your records for the play-in. The Bulls, 34-42. Miami, 35-42. The Hawks, 36-40. Orlando, 38-40. Get rid of the play-in, man. Do something different. So, and by the way, speaking of the play-in, here's your schedule for it. We put it up the other day. So the play-in begins Tuesday, April 15th, runs through Friday, the 18th. So by that day, Friday the 18th, we will know definitively, assuming the Kings make the play-in, where this season is going. So got a lot to talk about, by the way, about last night. Dennis, you are going to be a big topic of today's show. I can promise you that. I told you that last night, man. This dude, Dennis, anytime something happened in the game, especially in the second half, dude, man, he pushed me like off the floor at one point. Like he got that, but like Dennis is a true fanatic. This dude loves this organization. And I do have something. I don't have any hangover. I'm exhausted. I was up this morning at 6. No, and I worked last night until about 3 in the morning. So no, I am just tired. I'm running on fumes, but I'm here for it. And you know who else is here for it? Jerry Reynolds is here for it. Grant is here for it. Halftime. Jerry and I will be doing halftime for you. Make sure you join us if you are partaking in tonight's Kings game. We'll talk about the first half and give you our predictions that have been wrong most of the time lately. And then post-game show, Napes and I will wrap it up for you tonight. Kings, Hornets, we do it all over again. This really feels like the game that if the Kings are going to win one on the road trip, it's got to be this one. But I just don't know how you're going to with what you saw the other night in Washington. By the way, Washington got rolled last night. So let's get to your comments really quick and see what you all are up to and what you're talking about here on a Friday. Yeah, dude, you are going to be getting some for sure. Please don't give us predictions anymore. All right, you got it. Well, hey, PK, please don't tell people you're going to give them gift cards anymore and not give them the gift card. How about that? Con says Hornets are going to win. We'll see. Let's see. Ryan, muted again. I am not muted again. I am not a bad boy, but dude. Okay. All right. We're going to get to Dennis in a minute. We will talk about Dennis. I had to sit Dennis down. Like, I'm like hitting him on the back. I'm like, bro, you got to come back. There was a couple of plays in the second half where they were questionable. In fact, Dexter Dennis, he got called for an offensive foul. And I told him, he's sitting right there next to me, like, great move, Dex. And he's like, dude, total flop. I'm like, yes, total flop, right? But that was the difference. Like, I'm having these little tiny conversations with guys like Mace, dabbed him up really quick, dabbed up Scal really quick. Dennis, he is just on the court with the Stockton Kings. If a big shot goes up, Dennis is shoulder by shoulder with the Stockton Kings. This dude's like right there. I'm surprised he wasn't in the huddle, but that's all right. Dude had a great time. So a fun dude to watch a basketball game with, though. Definitely. Playing another terrible Adam Slime Ball. That's a new one. Haven't heard that before. Mars, Trey Young, Keon Ellis, Keegan Murray, Cam Johnson, and Claxton bench, Monk, Larabian, JV, etc. Sabonis for Nick Claxton and Cam Johnson. Okay, but Mars, what direction are you trying to go, my man? Are you trying to like rebuild this? Are you trying to retool and saying we're going to be competitive in the Western Conference? Or are you saying like that's going to be our rebuild? Because I think that team probably keeps you right around the play-in again. So we'll see. Don't think the owners would cancel the play-in. They care about the money. You know, yeah. I think it's a little bit different for basketball because there's so many games. And I don't know. I've never owned a team. But it's hard to compare like football. You know how they're fighting for these extra regular season games? I understand that because each game makes you so much more money. But basketball, I don't know. It seems it's a gimmick to me. And here's the other problem with the play-in, quite honestly. If you want to be frank about it, it's a part of it that nobody talks about. If I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers, if I'm the Oklahoma City Thunder, if I'm the Boston Celtics, if I am anybody 1 through 6, I am bent that I've got to wait like almost a week to play basketball. I know that you want to have a little bit of time off this time of year to heal, but that's too much time. Because what? The Kings' last game? Let's see. Kings' last game is April 13th. And the playoff, or the play-in, excuse me, begins what? The 15th? So you're basically getting a week off if you're some of those teams. So I just don't like that part of it either. Something interesting in Stockton that I'm going to talk about as well, besides Dennis. Dennis made friends. So by the way, we get there. In fact, you know what? Why don't we just start here? Here's Dennis. And that was actually him, like not that far out. By the end of the game, Dennis was like shoulder to shoulder with those dudes. But anyway, it was so funny. I loved it for him. And by the way, this is great too. My man from Channel 10 that I know, Kevin John, he was working by himself last night. And so I stopped him like, Kev, what's up? And so we're talking and Dennis comes over and Dennis, you would have thought that Dennis was Kevin John's best friend. Like Dennis just dove right into the conversation. In fact, Dennis took the conversation over and it wasn't even like, it was like takes about the A's. Like I was asking Kevin, I'm like, Kev, like what's up with the attendance? Did you notice that? You know, like what's going on? Dennis is just throwing takes in between. Then anytime we saw Kevin the rest of the game, Kevin dabbing, dude, Dennis was living it last night, man. Living it. I'm telling you. And then when we were in the VIP area, he's doing shots with people that we met in the VIP area. Oh my gosh, man. Good stuff. Who wants to go? Who can go to the game on Sunday? Who wants to go see the Stockton Kings play on Sunday? Anybody? Anybody want to go see the Stockton Kings play in the Western Conference Finals? Let me know. All right. So let's talk about that game really quick last night. Oh, you know what? We need to talk about this first. Ja Morant, who we talked a lot about, a ton about on Wednesday, got fined $75,000 by the NBA. You know why? Because he made more gun gestures last night. 3 of them, to be exact. 2 were caught by TNT on national TV. The NBA has fined him $75,000 from The Athletic. The league fined Memphis Grizzlies guard $75,000 on Friday, one day after he repeatedly mimicked a gun in celebration during Thursday's game against the Miami Heat. Morant's finger gun gestures came hours after the league warned him to refrain, from using the celebration. Quote, Morant was previously warned by the league office that this gesture could be interpreted in a negative light, end quote. The NBA said in a news release announcing the fine. Adam Silver, do you have a set, my man? I'm being serious. This is the dude that was on Instagram videos holding a gun that they couldn't prove was actually his or even if it was real. This is the same guy that you have had these 2 major conversations with. By the way, the Grizzlies have been plummeting, which we talked about briefly at the top. Not sure if you heard that part or not. But Adam Silver in the NBA, you're going to say in a press release that it could be interpreted from that guy. It's interpreted if Malik Monk does it. It's interpreted if Keegan Murray did it. Somebody with no history of being just absolutely obsessed with firearms. So I'm not sitting here and saying that you should have sat him down for the rest of the year, but 75 grand, like it feels like Ja Morant has not been in trouble for anything gun related with this. Like, how do you, I just think Adam Silver, backbone, none. It's not there. Ja Morant, the number one
he would step
habitual
across the
line
line.
stepper.
Habitually, he's a habitual line stepper.
Unbelievable. He made his first 3 last night. And then he hits that gesture out again. No one is saying the Melo 3-point sign was weird. What was the Melo 3-point sign? Well, I'm not going to talk about the owner. Can I go Sunday, Rhino? Pretty please. I'll drive from the 530. Sure, Chris Ball, we'll put you in there. We'll put your name in there. Anybody else trying to get some tickets to go see? Here comes the menace himself. The man, Dennis, what's up?
Yo, Rhino!
What's up?
My party animal, Rhino.
Yeah, not so much. I mean, I was just sitting there enjoying a basketball game and talking to my people.
Bro, you were over there dapping everybody up. You dapped the whole team up. You're talking to the coach. Like, come on. I thought you were the GM at one point. I was like, man.
Well, I've just built relationships down there, my brother.
I loved it.
Yeah, no, man. Thanks. It was a blast having you down there. What did you think? I mean, best seats in the house, by the way.
Best
Wouldn't you
seats.
say?
Best seats. Like you said, I had to move out the way because they were almost in my lap half the time. I was like, whoa, wait, let me move out the way. As soon as they jumped up and made a play, I was like, wow, it was amazing. Right there, bro. We're right there. You can't get better than that. You can't.
That's why I told you if you would have showed up in Stockton Kings warmups, you would have looked like you were on the team, bro.
They would have put me in the game.
Oh, they would have put you in the
I would have
game.
splashed on them too. I would have splashed a couple threes. I'd have been in there, Rhino.
Yeah. Okay. All right. There's Scal. There's big Scal. Yeah. I didn't get to talk to Scal as much as I wanted to. I wanted to talk to him after the game, but didn't get to it. But yeah, man. Okay. So do me this, because you said that you had gone down for the Reno Bighorn games, right? But you hadn't done a Stockton Kings game. So for the people that have not done a Stockton Kings game, lay it out for them. Like, what was the experience like for you? Is it worth going down there? Is it that part of Stockton? Do you like the atmosphere? I'll let you take over.
Well, yeah. I mean, before it was called Stockton Arena. Now they changed names, but we were talking to Kevin about that, about the hockey and everything else like that. But I had so much fun. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, we had the best seats in the house, but like I saw families there. I like it was just a great experience overall. Like everybody was having a good time. The product was so good, unlike what we've been seeing from Sacramento. Like Stockton is really excelling.
It's great basketball, right?
They're just bringing a better product. Like
it's such a better product.
You like Ryan. Do these guys miss a shot? They're like, no, these guys can shoot. These guys can make every shot. I'm like, wow. I'm just amazed. I was just amazed. Like,
it's a consistent. It's a consistent product. Like I was tapping Dennis like every 2 seconds, and I'm like, look at the pace. Look. It didn't matter.
It didn't drop off. It never dropped off. It wasn't ISO. It was just boom, 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 boom.
It did not matter what the Valley Suns did. If they made it, if they did
down,
whatever.
Rhino, we were down, and we came back and beat them.
Yeah, they won it with defense.
2 minutes in the fourth, we crushed them.
Yep, they got it. Well, it started with defense in that fourth quarter. That's what really turned things around. They held them to 17 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think it was 17 or 18. We scored like
Yeah, so it was they're rolling. I would not be surprised if they make the finals. In fact, I will be surprised if they don't make the finals.
That's right. I mean, I was blown away. Like from Reno, that product, when I went down there, like how many years ago, to Stockton, oh my gosh, totally different, Rhino.
Yep.
Totally different. More action, more up tempo, more shots being made. I mean, everything was just better.
Yup. I hear you, my man. Well, thanks for going. I appreciate you. What do you think about tonight?
Oh gosh, we're tanking. Let's tank all the way. Okay. Like I hope Portland, Chicago, Miami, Suns all win because we need to keep our pick. I mean, that's what we need to give fans hope, and that's the best way. We gotta tank. We gotta keep the pick. We gotta get a new not new owner, but a new coach. So that's how I'm feeling about that.
For sure. All right, dude. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Rhino.
You got it, buddy. Man, no, like seriously, I had to check like my arm. Like Dennis is a strong dude, and he'd like grab onto you. Like his hand like went all the way around my arm. I'm like, dude, man, you're strong, bro. I'm gonna pit you against Connor, our mortgage guy. Holy crap. Oh, yes. Love talking with this guy. His team is probably going to be the 2 seed in the West. Hell yeah. Let's do it. Mr. Moss. Let's bring him in. What's up, Moss?
Hey, Rhino. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing, brother?
Not too bad, man. I think the 2 seed is probably where we're going to end up at. Tough loss versus the Lakers. The immaturity, our inefficient backcourt with Fred and Jalen really showed why I feel like we can't advance deep in the postseason. But being what we've had gone on the years in the past, I'll take it. Right, anything's better than nothing. So huge jump, going in the right direction. I don't expect a deep postseason run. Maybe get a first round win based on who we play. And honestly, I'm okay with that. If they play the Clippers, if the Clippers get the number 7 seed, then I'm driving down to Intuit Dome, and
are you?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to catch at least one of those games. But I saw the Suns, Kings, Mavericks kind of bunched up right there. 9 and 10,
yeah,
and 11, and so Suns have a Brewer schedule, Kings schedule. The last 3 games at home are kind of tough, you can say, because they're all playing for something. And then the Dallas Mavericks get AD back, and they've been playing better ball. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Kings get the number 10 seed. And I don't believe in tanking, because when you're like in that in-between stage and you're not the worst team, but you're not the best team. If I'm a Kings fan, I don't trust the lottery system, right? I mean, this is the same league who didn't give Sabonis, who led the league in double-doubles and rebounding last year. The kid couldn't even make the dude couldn't even get on the All-Star team. So I'm going to trust that system to give the Kings a top 5 pick, or no, I'm not doing that. So if you can somehow, some way get in, because the worst spot to be at, Rhino, is like picking, 14, 15, 13, 12, because chances are that, you're not getting somebody. And I know the draft has been, up and down, and there's a diamond in the rough per se, a la Isaiah Thomas, but more times than not, like that player's not going to come in and just change the life. So I think the Kings can still get in, even if they go 2-4, 3-3. I think the Suns' schedule is brutal, and I think the Suns don't want to win, and I think they can care less.
Yeah, I actually think the last game of the season is going to decide it, because the Kings play the Suns.
Okay.
Last game of the season.
I
think they're both gonna fumble around, and I really question if anybody wants to win that game.
Yeah, I do too. I got 2 quick questions, then I'll take it off air. The first one is, are you catching any of the A's games in town, or are you planning on going any of them, or is that your thing?
Not my thing.
Okay.
If I get invited, maybe I would go to one, but I have no motivation to go to one.
Same here. I thought I would, because I mean, I'm a baseball guy, but I thought about it and just it's probably not going to happen. If I get invited and I go and I end up there, cool. But I'm not gonna like take a day and go do it.
Yeah.
Real quick, you and Grant had a decent conversation, a good one too. And Grant's a few games ago, and he mentioned that he feels like Doug's. I'm paraphrasing here. He's kind of lost his voice, lost the team.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm wrong, tell me. How did they go from saying he's a player and they can relate to him, Ryan, to now he's lost him? How does that happen?
Well, it's complicated. Remember, there's 2 guys in the locker room that, there was 2 that didn't want Brown, right? And I think that Doug, I don't know. Here's my issue, Moss, with it, is this whole effort idea. And Grant and I kind of hit on it, was, I just don't see how Doug, I think he is truly wired that way, that he doesn't understand how some guys, like how you just don't give your full effort every time. But I don't see that Doug, or I don't know if Doug sees that indirectly it feels like at times he's not giving his best effort coaching wise. This team has been vanilla. I think that this team is fractured to a degree. I think you've got the old school and kind of the new school going on, and you've got guys that are not feeling left out, but it's like, all right, you're going to leave me out, then freeze me out, but I just, the lack of adjusting, the straight to ISO ball down the stretch, it's old. We're not seeing anything done. And so where I said I think Doug loses the team and he loses the fan base is when you're sitting there saying the guys can't get tired of doing the stuff that works, right? And then you have a 6-minute stretch against Indiana where you just go straight ISO ball.
Right.
After you were doing what works all game, why did you not call a timeout? You can't blame that on the players. So
that's a
both
great point
things.
you just said. It's a great point. And then let me leave you with this a little bit. Doug is old school, right? And again, like I can only imagine when he lays his head down at night, he can't fathom the lack of effort. Like, you're in the NBA, you
Right.
have a privileged position in this country, and you're blessed. And so I get that part of it. But then you come back and say, Doug, like, you had a great stretch here in Indiana. It looked great. What happened? And when the bleeding is going, why not call a timeout and stop the bleeding? And for me, there's a balance of fairness and sternness. I know Doug's a player and he wants to get along with people because that's how I perceive him, right? But where's the, hey man, you messed up. I see Doug slapping guys in the butt after a bad play, walking to the bench. I'm sorry. I'm old school, Rhino. That's not what Phil's doing. That's not what Pop's doing. And I'm not saying Doug is those guys, but you can kind of, pick. I mean, you were under Mike Brown. So, I mean, I know Mike Brown has some of those attributes. Maybe we didn't see it during TV timeouts, but like, why would you be high-fiving and clapping? And like, I just don't understand the philosophy in today's NBA. Guys are being praised after bad plays in the National Basketball Association, and it's frustrating. But
I hear you.
But hey, I think they'll get in. So we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Too bad it's not a home game, right, for us fans, but we'll see. And so, but like always, man, appreciate you. Enjoy the show.
Appreciate you.
I'll be listening.
Yep, for sure. I appreciate you. Always bringing it, Mr. Moss. Love that dude. I still owe him Bennett's. In fact, I owe him a basketball game too. Need to get him to. Hey, Moss. I know you're listening. If the Stockton Kings make the G League finals and they host a game, you're going with me to one of those if your schedule allows. All right. In stone, right here. Set it publicly. So, look, I think when it comes to Doug and PK, I'm going to get to you in a second. I think that there is an element that is out of his control to a degree. And I don't know if that is internal or external. What I do know is this is a Mike Brown staff. This is not a Doug Christie staff. It's a Mike Brown staff. So the concepts that Doug may or may not be instituting might not really be up the same street, be in line with the strengths of some of these coaches. Or you're trying to go between a mixture of the two. I thought simplifying was fine. But my problem with this is, and Grant said it, I don't know that we have this stat or you can track this stat, but the Kings have been turning the ball over out of timeouts. That should never happen. The Kings have been getting 24-second violations out of timeouts. And I'm talking about timeouts where like teams have gone on a run and you need a solid possession. So when it comes to the ISO ball, when it comes to the decisions to leave Keon on the bench, to not run plays for Keegan Murray, I don't know if that's a Doug thing. I don't know if that is coming from above Doug. But nothing to me is out of the realm of possibility. Because most NBA coaches would have told you that if you fire your head coach in the middle of the season, choosing the fourth coach on the bench is usually out of the realm of possibilities. And that's exactly what happened here in Sacramento. And it's no secret that Doug is very close with Vivek. No secret whatsoever. I I think that there are a lot, and I cannot tell you that I have heard this from anybody. This is pure speculation. I think this team is being coached by committee. I just don't know who's on the committee. And you see Doug get really defensive at times, by the way, when he's asked about, I'm the coach of the team. And great example, by the way, is the whole thing about you guys don't talk to the refs. You let me handle it, right? Doug has not gotten a single technical foul this season. Now, he did have 2 successful challenges last game. Credit to him. Those were good challenges. But yeah, I just don't know. Yeah, please hit the thumbs up. Appreciate that, MC. Helps us out a lot. We do have a lot of people watching on X as well. So if you're watching on X, please give us a like. We would greatly appreciate that as well. MC, hope you're doing well. Cristobal. Okay, so far, Cristobal is the only one that I see wants tickets to the Western Conference Finals. So Cristobal, you are in line for the tickets right now. If you want to go Sunday to see the Stockton Kings in the Western Conference Finals, Austin Spurs, 6 p.m., I've got a pair of lower level tickets for you that can be yours. You got to let me know you're interested and you can go, and then we will hash it out between who wants to go and we'll figure out who gets them. Hell, maybe I'll get both of you sets of tickets. Who knows? Let me know. But first, let's go to, he dropped off. Oh, now he's back. PK, what is going on today, buddy?
Hey, buddy. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, dude.
Hey, I as far as the draft is concerned, I think it's an important draft that we get a pick. I think Atlanta also wants that 12th pick because they're rebuilding. I think a 12th pick is more strong. Like, it's a lot more strong than people give it credit. For instance, Chicago drafted Baselis last year, 14? I think there's just this draft, there's talent and there's value to that 12th pick.
Buzelis wasn't 14, was he?
I think he was 14th and he fell off.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because they projected him top 5 and then everybody passed, and then Bulls celebrated because I think he's hometown. I think
he
went
really
to high
wanted
school.
to be there. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
that.
I think he went to the academy or whatever over there, whatever Chicago big
he was part of
school.
and then he was part of the G League Ignite.
Ignite.
Well.
Yeah. Yep. But let me say this: as far as Doug Christie, in your opinion, Ryan, if we're being very lenient and if we are being positive on this note, do you think there's a justification? What level of justification do you think we have to say that this is not Doug's team, and the reason that he is struggling coaching this team, not because he has a simple offense, not because he lost the locker room probably, and no one's listening to him, but the fact that he's not the one who picked this team, because it could have been McNair's or Brown's team. If you are very lenient, you could say, it's not like I picked this roster. I'm just here filling in. So give me a chance to build a team that I can where I can produce a product that is worthy. Do you think there's any relevance to assume that Doug Christie can in offseason tweak this team where it looks good next season?
No. Not in my opinion.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think so either. But then also, I mean, in the years past that you've watched sports, when a new coach comes in, they also have to rebuild the roster that works on, with their scheme too, right?
Well, it's not just the here's where I think if we're going to go back to the fundamental level of this, I hate to go all the way back, but now I think it's necessary. When Mike Brown was hired and he had his press conference, defense, right?
Yeah.
And it appeared that him and Monty were on the same page, and then there was this offensive explosion that nobody expected. And at that point, the Kings, I truly believe the Kings didn't know what to do. They just ran with it. Don't try to fix it if it ain't broke, right? That's why they didn't make any moves at the deadline, and you end up with a really funky year because you were by far the healthiest team in the league, right? And so they thought that was it. I think they thought that was a big enough sample size that warranted trying it again for the next year. And you realize that things changed a little bit. Teams caught up. The scouts found a way to stop stuff. Like, look at even, I'm getting a lot of feedback. You got me up
I'm
right
good.
now?
I think that's always you.
Okay. I don't usually get feedback like that. Anyways,
Yeah.
You had guys figure out how to defend this, and then you had other teams already break the Kings' offensive rating record that year. And so I think at that point, Monty McNair and Mike Brown, I don't want to say that they were on different pages, but I think it's safe to assume maybe they had different visions for what this team should be built around. And what ended up happening was something in the middle, which has not worked. And to this day, this team still has no identity. So to me, especially now with Domantas Sabonis, I tried to make this point on the post-game show. I worry that he has officially been, we know he is a step below Jokic. We get that. But I think there was a question about whether or not he could play that same game that Jokic plays. The last 3 years in Sacramento may have given the NBA the answer in the sample size that no, he cannot play that same game that Jokic plays. He plays a very similar game, but it's not that same game. So what I'm saying is you can't, if you're a franchise, build through and run through Domas.
Mm.
And I think that's where a fresh set of eyes need to come look at this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
see if, go ahead.
Yeah. You know what? The scariest thought for me, and this is, you just made such a great point when you reflected on Kings. To me, this is kind of like what haunts me from last 2 seasons. There was a spark that we had where we were really good. We were pretty deep on the bench too. We had some little guys and we were playing fast. And there was one moment where I was thinking to myself, if we just make the right moves right now, we can be actually good. And they did nothing. And I remember my heart sank. I was like, to me, I was thinking this is the perfect time to add a big,
PK? PK, going once, going twice. We'll try to bring him back on. They did add a big, but I don't think you've tried everything that you can try with that big. That's the problem. And that's why I think I go back to, if I'm Doug Christie, and this is Grant's point, this is 100% Grant's point. This is like your opportunity to be a head coach in the NBA. Show your ingenuity. Be creative. Show us what do you have to lose right now? Nothing. This thing is broken down. This year has been a disaster. So get creative. Do whatever you can to save it. And for whatever reason, it feels like to me that switch is not flipping over. Now, is that possibly because Doug is much better in the inspirational department? He's much better in the player development department than he is the X's and the O's? Is it because the front office? You remember at training camp Mike Brown, and I think besides not playing Keon Ellis, being too open with the media was a fatal flaw of Mike Brown's. And I don't want to say it's a fatal flaw because dude's at home getting paid right now. So maybe it was the best decision he ever made. But Mike would talk about how Monty would say we need to be fifth in pace, right? Pace is so important. That's what they talked about this preseason. And so I guess what I'm saying is if you read the tea leaves, if you read in between, it's like there's too many cooks in the kitchen that have different ideas and theories about how to use this team and what would work with this team. And I think what you are seeing with the inconsistency, and I get the Kings' probably identity. If we're going to say identity can be positive or negative, inconsistency has been their identity. But I think that's why on some nights you see things work really well and the ball moving around the horn. And on other nights, you just see this straight ISO. And then on other nights, you see what you saw in Washington. I mean, is there any excuse for this? Because there's none to me. I even put this up at the halftime show with Jerry Reynolds. This was in the first half. Here's the basketball right here. That was a three-pointer shot by Washington. That's how the Kings were boxing out. They're not even finding a man to box out. Look at Zach LaVine. He's just got an arm on his player. And you know what ends up happening? His player comes right here, gets the rebound, goes up with the rebound, gets fouled by Domas, and then it is an and one. I mean, Keon Ellis not finding a guy. I guess Domas, I'm okay with you not finding a guy because you're such a great rebounder. I'm not judging your process. But Zach LaVine, that is not a box out. And don't make the argument that it is a box out because the baseline's right there. No. That's just effort. And so when you see a team that's being coached by Mr. Effort himself, it's very hard to explain why you're having lulls like that. That's not cooks in the kitchen. That is just straight up effort. That's a team. You know what's kind of worrisome, or the most worrisome thing about that? To me, the Kings, what I took from last game against the Wizards was the Kings, who are multiple games under 500. 4 games under 500 with a net rating of 0.0. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They are sitting in the 10 seed. And the Kings think that they are good enough to show up for 6 minutes a game and win, because that's what it felt like against Washington. Lackadaisical. We know Washington stinks. They've only won 16 games. No way they're going to beat us. You know, we're just going to be on cruise control. Right? And then the Kings turn it on. But what happens? JT Thor in your eyeball, just called up from the G League that day. So, anyways, yes, I bought Dennis a drink. He was doing shots with the people. I'm like, go ahead, dude, have fun. Just don't run on the floor. But I was driving, so no. I am hungover off of popcorn, chicken wings, and vegetables. That's what I am hungover off of. So, anyways, you know, I thought it would be interesting if we listened to what the coach for the Wizards had to say. And by the way, if you go to YouTube and you're looking at his presser, he has got the biggest, Brian Keefe, the coach of the Wizards, he's got this biggest grin on his face. Like, we just won the championship. Let's see what he said. I have not listened to it. We will listen to it together for the first time. Here was Brian Keefe, the head coach of the Wizards, after beating the Kings. Look at this. It's like championship time.
Right, I'll bring one for you the next time.
Coach, can you talk about the late game execution when the game got close there in the last few minutes?
Great. Like, they were obviously trying to make a push there at the end. They start trapping, picking up full court, and our guys just continued to make the right play, hit the open man, and that, I think that was evident synopsis of the game is JT Thor wide open, made the right play, and he bangs the three. It was great. Our guys just kept trusting the pass and making the simple play after play the whole game. I think that was really the tell for us.
Can you speak to Bub's performance? He was hot from deep, probably his best three-point shooting game in maybe a few months.
I love this floor game. I just liked how we can control the tempo. Obviously, he was one controlling what we were running offensively down the stretch. He was really calm, great composure, got us organized, and we were able to get great shots. And then obviously he made threes. But I really liked his floor game tonight. It was really good.
That interaction between Vukovic and Malik Monk, what did you see there?
This is basketball. That's just guys being competitive. I love that stuff. That's part of the game.
What did you think about the presence of mind from JT to fake, make sure that Monk gave him some space, and then take the three?
Great play. Great composure by the whole team, but big shot for sure.
Anthony Gill, 10 points, 31 minutes. With the level of consistency he brings you guys as a person day to day, what's it like to give him this amount of extended minutes and see him perform the way he did?
Anytime he gets an opportunity, this is how he plays. Like, he's so locked into everything that we're doing. So when he gets extended minutes, this is not surprising. He does this stuff every day in practice, and I give him some time during certain games in short minutes because he can handle that responsibility. Then with extended minutes, he's always producing because he's always making the right play, and he plays so hard.
Yeah, no, I do. I don't believe I don't believe that was the trade Monty McNair wanted to make. I can't prove that. Nobody's told me that. But that trade's been on the table for a very long time. In fact, there's been other trades on the table that you could have done for Zach LaVine. That, to me, came from somewhere above Monty McNair. Vivek Ranadive has been infatuated with Zach LaVine for years. Infatuated. Remember how Monty said it was his decision to fire Mike Brown? He began convening meetings about Mike Brown as the Kings were struggling coming into December. It was not Monty's decision. Monty was the fall dude. That's why I say the LaVine contract situation, something that the Kings refused to do over the last 2.5, 3 years, put a bad contract on the books. Why Monty would decide to do it then? Because Zach LaVine ain't saving that season. It's a Vivek move. It's what it is. To me, all right, so that was Brian Keefe. Let's see what Doug Christie had to say.
About as disappointing as it gets. For me, I've been in this league for a long time, and I've seen a lot of different things. I've been on that side, on both sides of that one right there, and the intensity has to ratchet up, and those are things that.
By the way, you're looking at Kings year-over-year statistics totals.
you have to bring, because at this level, anybody can beat you on any given night. And you can't coast in thinking, oh, we'll get to the play-in and then we'll turn it on. And that's been a bit of what's going on, the ability to turn it on and turn it off. You have to play at a certain intensity level, and there is nothing else. You have to play at that level against teams that are at the bottom of this league or they're at the top of this league, period. Yeah. Anything else?
If you knew why this would happen, you would be able to fix it. So, I mean, what's the frustration level? Knowing what time of the season is and what the stakes are, knowing that that's what happened tonight.
The frustration level really is to watch us compete against really good teams. You compete against Indiana for 40 minutes and you let up for 8 minutes. Okay, that's a really good team. That happens. But you come into here against a team that is toward the bottom of the league.
No, so Progressive, I appreciate you. I couldn't disagree with you more, but I'm going to give it this caveat. I'm not going to blame it completely on Zach LaVine. But Zach LaVine is the problem. That Zach LaVine deal would have still been there this offseason. The Kings were playing better without a player like that in the lineup. When De'Aaron Fox was out, the Kings were playing better. Less ball stoppage. More intensity defensively. More ability to switch. Getting out in transition. Less turnovers. So you brought, to me, you traded De'Aaron Fox's speed. You traded his ability to get to the cup and score in the paint for Zach LaVine's ability to shoot beyond the arc. You brought in another three-point shooter. Now with his contract on the books, it changes what the Kings can do significantly. It changes everything. If you would have done it this offseason, which the Kings absolutely should have done, and you decide to go with Zach LaVine, and there's a reason you're going with Zach LaVine because there's a new coach and a new GM and a system that fits really well with Zach LaVine, then okay, you can still make that move, and it's still just as risky. But I'm here saying Sacramento, outside of the 22-23 season, has turned good three-point shooters into bad three-point shooters. We're not talking about just one guy that hasn't been able to make threes. We are talking about guys that specialize from beyond the arc that are all of a sudden not able to hit a three-pointer, that can't throw a pea in the Pacific. So you have a systematic problem as well. But past the systematic problem, it's that you had two clear choices this summer. If you would have held on to Fox, I think number one, you could have gotten probably a much better player for whichever direction you were going. I think you likely could have got a better return. Oh, in third, you could have decided just to blow the damn thing up and do the full rebuild and take a bunch of draft picks. That third option is no longer on the table. Do you think any team is trading for Zach LaVine at his number? Nobody. And now by default, unless Zach LaVine, and credit to him, he has been able to stay on the court. If he is able to stay on the court and he plays halfway decent, you are still going to be stuck in this 12 to 8 range in a rapidly changing and improving Western Conference. And don't look over your shoulder, because San Antonio's coming. I think Phoenix is going to drop down. They're going to blow it up. And what about Portland? They're what, 2.5 years into this rebuild? And they're only sitting 2.5 games right now out of the 10 seed. So that third and most important area, which is blowing it up, is gone. You can't do it. That's why it's a problem. And it is directly and indirectly a Zach LaVine thing. Stinks. Doug Christie, one more time.
They got guys sitting out and your intensity is not there from the start. You have to look at yourself in the mirror, and me as well. Now, I had a conversation about every aspect of what could happen in a game like this, how we need to be. This is a business. We have to come out with a business mindset. You do not look at them, put a face on it, anything, you go in there. But the intensity, the effort and enthusiasm has to be at a higher level. I'm not questioning whether they will come and play against teams that they know are really, really high level. They're going to do that. It's where you.
I don't know that you would have. I think the bigger risk, Progressive, to be honest with you, the bigger risk was De'Aaron being a distraction by not getting traded. And if he would have been a distraction, you send him out for surgery. You send him out, you have his surgery. And Progressive, I would argue, Progressive, we had a big enough sample size of a 5-man group on this team when De'Aaron was sitting out that had played over 1,000 minutes together, that the numbers both offensively and defensively were way better, way above the Kings season averages, over 100 possessions. So I think you probably would have been better. Now, the Kings dealt with injuries, Sabonis, and by the way, we have to acknowledge this. If you don't trade De'Aaron Fox, do you have the picks to go get Valanciunas? Maybe you don't. If you don't have Valanciunas and then you don't have Sabonis, that would have been a real problem for the Kings. But the sample size was there. Now, was the sample size enough to pull the trigger on getting Fox out? That's what was debatable. In fact, I had a personal conversation with Jerry Reynolds about that. We pick up the phone, we talk maybe once every couple weeks. And I said, Jerry, would that be enough for you? Is that enough of a sample size? And he said no. And I respect his decision. But it was a respectable sample size. So let's go to the phones. We are getting some more calls. Oh, Adam Oos is here. We'll get to him in a second. We'll do some wrestling. We'll do like 10 minutes of wrestling, and then we'll get back to Kings basketball since they are getting ready to take on the Charlotte Hornets tonight. We're looking to see who is going to be in, who is going to be out of this one. Sabonis was listed late on the injury report with an ankle. That is still pending. He is a game time decision. Laravia, we know, is out. Looks like Devin Carter is going to be available for tonight. Charlotte, all good to go on their side. Again, Charlotte comes into this one losers of 4 of their last 5, most recently against Indiana. We'll put that up for you to look at while we bring in Adam Oos for a few minutes and talk some Kings with him first, and then we'll get back to the chat as well. What up, brother?
What's up, Oos?
What's up, Oos?
What are you doing?
Putting up the numbers of last game for Charlotte so people can see what they did and what they do. What are you doing?
What's their record?
Charlotte is 19-57, 12-26 at home.
You smell that?
What's that?
I smell another loss.
You know, I would not be surprised. Well, I thought this team would come out completely different after the way they played in Indiana. Doug said it. They only play 8.5 bad minutes.
Yeah.
And then they just lay an egg in Washington. And here's the bigger problem. Grant talks about this. Jerry talks about it. The energy aspect of it. Because these are not buildings where the fans are. In fact, Charlotte ripped a PS5 from a kid. They're like, hey, kid, come out. You're going to do this contest on the floor. Here's your new PS5. And they take the kid in the tunnel and they're like, give me back my PS5. Here's a couple of jerseys. Come on. You can't do that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I think all of us are kind of over what's happened this season, and rightfully so. How many more games we got? 6? 7?
You've got 5, 6. 6 left.
6. Yeah, I don't know what to say, Rhino. It just sucks, man. It just sucks. We get a little bit of hope, a couple of years ago, and then you would think we were on the ascent, but we weren't. Even last year was, we didn't win as many games as we did the year prior, but this year has been brutal. And we've been relatively healthy.
Yeah, you know what? I don't. You bring up a really good point. I think it's unfair of any Kings fans that blame injury on this season, because maybe you could talk about Fox's finger from the start of the season. Maybe that was the biggest factor because of his ball handling, but compared to other teams in the NBA, this team has been dealt what I feel is a fair hand injury-wise. I don't think it's been any worse or any better than the average.
No, and going back to 2 years ago when we were the 3 seed, I think we benefited a lot from other teams' injuries. Here's what's frustrating, right? It feels like no matter what, the best teams in the NBA are still resting their players against us. We're always playing full strength, extended minutes on our starters. And sometimes we win, but sometimes we still lose. I don't think we've ever seen this team play a full season against other teams at full strength. And I know that's not realistic, but
yeah.
I think even some of the wins that we get in these seasons are against teams that are resting their starters against us on purpose, on top of injuries and all that sort of stuff. So, 2 years ago, I think our ranking was inflated a little bit. I do think they could have gone to the Western Conference in 23 as well, but it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. It is extremely tough. Most fans are like,
I'm gonna come at you like a spider monkey.
Vivek Ranadive. They're frustrated, and rightfully so. Look, Progressive, I'm trying to say, and no, Levine is not trash. Okay. I'm not going to say he's not a winning player. Has he won in his career? Not really. I mean, not significantly. but he's still got a lot. He's been hurt a ton. That's the downside of him. What I'm saying, and yes, it's a small sample size, progressive. That's why I said indirectly Levine. Everything around Levine. That is the issue. It was the decision making. It really, this team, you are in such a better spot this offseason, even if this team's doing this roller coaster that they've done the second half of the season since the trades. You are in such a better spot without that contract on the books. Such a better spot. You now have options. Now you do not.
And I think that's where I'm frustrated right now, because we're at the best tied to only Zach LaVine's contract. At best, you got double that with Sabonis. DeMar, I think, will move off of that. That's fine. Monk, I think he gets paid. I think that's a pretty accurate contract for Malik Monk. But, man, just having $40 million tied into Levine for 2 more years, whatever, that sucks. And he's at a position that I think we have depth at, and we could be starting someone else, but we won't, because we pay the guy $40 million every year.
Well, and that's why I say about Doug Christie, you're right. Doug Christie's rotations, the decision making. I see what Doug's tried to do. He's playing Levine the entire first quarter. So he's trying to get Levine more run with the second unit, which gives him a little bit more space to operate and gives Levine kind of makes Levine the focus of the offense more or less. Because there's guys you have to get going. Levine is one of them. In fact, I think Levine's number 1 on the list. Number 2 is Malik Monk, and then number 3 is Keegan Murray. Sabonis can get himself going. Keon, he just spots up. You don't have to worry about that. But I want to see more focus around Keegan Murray. People that say, and I see Daniel saying we've seen 3 years of Keegan. You've seen 3 years of Keegan in the shadows. I feel like we've seen half of a season. I mean, even half of a season since the last 10 games that Keegan has began being more aggressive, speaking up. But I need to see what I have in him. And I want to make sure that I am also not rocking the boat too much to where when it comes time to sit down with Keegan, if you want to keep him, that he wants to be here. Keon Ellis next year, going into a contract year. You want to, that's why this is such a weird situation. I think everybody just wants clarification and to a degree wants this thing to be over this season.
Yeah, I think we all want it to be over, including the players, which that seems to appear true on their behalf. Keegan, Keon, Valanciunas, I love Sabonis too, but let's just get something for him at this point. I don't know what to do. It's not working.
Yeah, well, we'll have to talk about it in the offseason because I've got concerns about his value as well. Sam, traditionally, Keegan has not been able to get himself going. If you go over a 3-year sample size, he has not been able to. Now, again, this half of a season that I'm talking about, the last 10, 15 games, he's been much better about it. Yes. But I want to see Keegan as the featured forward on this team. That's what I want to see. Put a 3-and-D guy next to him. I want him to be the featured forward on this team. Because what happens is, last game we saw Sabonis score 8 points in a row. Game before that, or same game, we saw Valanciunas score 10 points in a row. they completely went away from Valanciunas. He only played 3 minutes in the second half. In fact, Keon Ellis all the time, he was on the bench for the most of the fourth quarter against Indiana, but only played 3:23. He was 3 or 4 from beyond the arc. Against Indiana, Keegan had 14 in the third quarter and then didn't get any touches the rest of the game. Like, those are the problems. So anyhow, it's nothing we're going to fix today, but maybe we'll see something better with basketball. Let's talk really quick. So we're going to get back to Kings, but there is one thing I want to address with you. WWE wise.
Yeah.
Was that the best on Raw? The best face-off promo segment that you've ever seen?
It was pretty dang good. I loved
between
it.
Rock and or excuse me, between Cena and Cody.
Yeah, it was cool. I loved how Cena came out, and before he even gets to touch the mic, Cody comes out. Boom. He pulled the total B-Rabbit 8 Mile move and listed off everything that John Cena could possibly say about him. But Cena still had things that he threw at Cody beyond that. And yeah, it was a fun promo. The only thing I didn't love for whatever reason was Cody hitting the crossroads on Cena at the end. Didn't love it. I think they could have done without some physical altercation.
I'm with you 100%. Don't let them touch until WrestleMania, but not have something in place where it's like, you guys can't touch each other.
Yeah, and then
let that tension grow.
The sell on it was a little
much.
Little
heavy-handed.
John Cena, right?
Little heavy-handed, yeah.
A little bit. But you know, whatever.
I just didn't expect Cody to fire back the way that Cena kind of undressed it.
What do you guys want to talk about?
I was expecting like that type of Cody, but Cody,
yeah,
right, man. All right. And you're right. You're right with this towel too. There's something about the towel. Cena kind of like marked his territory as Cody started to walk around that towel. He kind of came back around and blocked it. So you're on to something, my man.
And you know, we talked last week about, you know, I think if there were a Cody heel turn at WrestleMania, he retains. John Cena wins Money in the Bank, and you're like, you can't discount the way that he wins the title. And that's why I think it would be cool at some point where John Cena comes out during a Cody promo and just drops the briefcase on him, and he's like, let's go right now. And I think that could bring the, hey, it's not like a cheap win, something like that. I don't know if anyone's ever done that with the Money in the Bank briefcase before, or it wasn't after a match or after someone got beat up.
Yeah, Cena did it. He announced it a week in advance.
Well, there you go.
That he was going to cash in. So, yeah, for sure. Really quick, SmackDown tonight. Are they still overseas?
No, they are back in Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, it's a good town.
It's a good town for a little CM Punk action. What do we got tonight? Ray Phoenix is debuting this evening. We've got CM Punk, Roman, and Seth are all going to appear. Braun Strowman is taking on Jacob Fatu for the #1 contender in the United States title match. Oh, please, come on. Really, if Braun Strowman wins this, what are we doing?
It's not good. They're going to do like a triple threat or something. I would okay, really quick. They're starting to kind of drop what days matches are going to be now. I think we're setting up so Punk got Dusty because he's going to main event WrestleMania. He'll be Saturday. That's the main event Saturday, no doubt. But Cena Cody has to close the show, I think. But what's that mean about Jey Uso's moment? Does that mean Jey Uso's losing?
Well, I think, you know, as great as the Cody John Cena segment was, the ending to that Jimmy versus Gunther match was I mean, it was disgusting, but it was so needed for this rivalry. Now we kind of care a little bit about the battle between these two. And it was like, I have not seen that much blood that early. I mean, it was what, 3:00 here. It was 1:00 on your guys' watch. It was gory, man. There was so much blood. And then Gunther starts like rubbing it on his chest, and then he tastes it and spits it out. Man,
That's
that
gross.
was
Yeah.
it
Sam,
was
we do it
wild.
every Friday. We
Welcome to the
sneak it in every Friday. It's a Royal Rumble Friday. If you wanted to call up and talk about Greco wrestling, we've had people call up and talk about bodybuilding. So
volleyball, sand volleyball.
yes. So we slam it in. So, all right, dude. Well, thank you. Appreciate you. I do agree that was a segment. I just, man, Jey Uso, you would have thought the momentum would have been like at a fever pitch, like with Daniel Bryan and that whole yes movement. It just feels like it's.
Yeah, but Jay's not great on the mic. Like Gunther can go, I think, with the best of them on the mic. Like if it's a shoot promo, Jay's not great at that. He's not a great actor. Yeah, Austin is definitely gonna interfere at some point. I don't know about Flair though.
Whoa!
I think Ric Flair
my gosh,
is
dude. Don't start us on Flair.
In like West Virginia. He's in some hole in the wall bar in West Virginia right now.
Ric Flair, man, just
burn it down.
Flair, just go, please. Not pass away, but just away from the product.
That's messed up, Ryan.
I said
I'm
not
kidding.
pass
I'm
away.
kidding.
Oos. All right, Oos. Love you, bro.
All right, love
Be
you. Dude.
well.
Peace out,
Good
yo.
job. All right, back to the Kings. Love Adam Oos. Had to get his wrestling segment in. Adam is our WWE correspondent. If you're just joining us, because this is also the pregame show for the Kings and the Hornets, thanks for being here. Ryan in Sacktown with you, taking you up to the start of the game. Halftime, Jerry Reynolds, the best, the one, the only, joins me. We'll talk about the first half. How many of you are really going to be watching the game? I assume if you're watching this, you're watching the game. But I'm going to be interested to see the numbers tonight for the post-game show. Grant will be here for that. We will be talking hopefully a win for the Kings. What could be their last win of the season. Again, I think this is all going to come down to the last game of the season. Phoenix and the Kings for that 10 spot. I know Phoenix's stretch is tough. They're in Boston tonight. But I don't see, even though the Kings have the tiebreaker with the Mavericks, I don't know that they're going to get them. They're a game and a half ahead right now with 6 games left to go. One thing that I definitely know that you can get at any time during the day or evening is a great meal at Bennett's West Side Grill or any of their locations here in the greater Sacramento area. Bennett's prime cuts of seafood and steak. Love me. All 3 locations, all a little bit different. Howland, Fair Oaks, Rockland, which is the newest, the West Side Grill, and Roseville. Roseville's where Grant and I got our heads shaved for $16,000 charity. That was awesome. Thank you to everybody that came out for that. And speaking of coming out, go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Bring out your laptops, bring out your phones, check out their incredible menu, house made across the board. You're not getting frozen stuff. You are getting fresh and premium ingredients and big portions as well. They've got great specials too that run almost every single day, including the weekends. Brunch on the weekends, 11 to 2 at each location. Weekend prime rib, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Happy hour, 2 to 6 p.m. And it is not too early to go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com and make a reservation for Mother's Day. You do not want to be without that reservation. I can promise you, telling you, the food off the charts. You can make to-go orders right there. PK. You can buy the gift card at Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Send it to the Wolfie. Send it to the chat, whoever it's owed to. But huge thanks to Brian, Margot, all the team at Bennett's for sponsoring the King's Court. And again, thank you to all of you that have gone out and supported Bennett's as well. We always tell them about it. Let them know that you heard about them here on the show. Ask for Brian. He'd love to say hi to you. So we always pass along to them when y'all go check it out. Greatly appreciate it. All right, Cristobal, since my man, Cristobal, you know what, dude? The tickets are yours. Unless somebody else steps up, Cristobal, the tickets are yours. You got 2 tickets to go see the Stockton Kings in the Western Conference Finals on Sunday night. In fact, if you don't know, that was the top thing that we were talking about. Stockton Kings last night. Incredible game. Western Conference semifinals, down there covering the game. It was awesome. Mason Jones, 3rd highest postseason scoring game in the history of the G League. Mason put up 47 points in the victory. The Kings defense really tightened up in the 4th quarter, only allowing the Valley Suns to 17 points. These two teams were so similar, are so similar. Ty Washington, by the way, as Phoenix begins their rebuild, is there any way you could get Devin Booker in Sacramento? Just asking for a friend. I mean, Matt Ishbia was dumb enough to take on Bradley Beal's contract. Could we get Devin Booker? I wouldn't mind that. You hear these rumblings, too, about Ja Morant possibly being moved or on the move. His situation being similar to De'Aaron Fox's, but completely dissimilar when it comes to the specifics of how you got there. But what I'm saying, last night in Stockton was absolutely incredible. Great time, by the way. Cheap ticket. You can get tickets in the lower bowl for $10, y'all. It's gonna be packed. I'm telling you, it's going to be packed on Sunday. And by the way, I have not said this. I put it out on X. This was very interesting to me. You know who was there last night? Angeli Ranadive. I found that very interesting. She was sitting a couple seats down from where we were at. Made eye contact with her. I've met her before. Did not get to speak to her, or did not get to speak to her last night. But you remember she was the co-GM. She was part of the front office in Stockton previous to this. Gabe Harris was working alongside her, who is the current GM and has done incredible things with this team, by the way, Gabriel Harris. But she was there last night. I found that very interesting. Now, I knew that she would be there probably because last year for the Western Conference Finals in Stockton, her and Vivek were there. But she was there last night on her own, checking things out. And you can make whatever read you want into that. I'm not really making a big read into it, but I was a little surprised to see her there. So anyways, it was a fun night. Mason Jones, again, absolutely went off. I can tell you the building's going to be much more fun on Sunday. I know the Kings play as well Sunday at 3. If you've never had a chance to go to Stockton, go down there. So many of their players have they have their roles. They have roles on this team, and they push the pace. They play their butts off, and they are super good. And there's Kings that you will recognize: Skal Labissiere, Mason Jones, Isaiah Crawford. These are all names that if you got a little one that you've never been able to take to a Kings game because it costs like half of your mortgage payment to sit in the lower bowl, take them to a Stockton Kings game. They've got a ton of stuff to do upstairs if you need to get them out of the seats for a few minutes, but you will see some great basketball. So go support them on Sunday. I will be back there on Sunday. Dennis won the contest, so he was there last night. Dennis was literally, by the end of the game, standing out by the players. See where John Elmore's at right there? And Dex is at? Dex has the towel over him. He was standing like on the baseline right there. I'm like, Dennis, dude, bro, people behind you can't see. But no, Dennis was awesome. He enjoyed the game thoroughly. But again, Mason Jones, massive night for Mace. And Scal had a great night as well. Love me some Scal. Love the team down there. Love the front office down there. Love what they're building. Everything that's happening in Sacramento. Although these two things are under one same roof, this organization, this part of the organization has it together. So get down there and support them on Sunday. I will be back. And Cristobal, you got to hit me up on X, or you got to email me at rhino.insacktown@gmail.com. So Cristobal, let me know if you are still here. All right. So back to tonight's game. Let's look really quick at what Charlotte does. Oh, Adam Uso back for a second helping really quick. What's up, Adam?
Hey, it's a really important day, and I forgot to acknowledge this person.
Uh-oh.
It's our girl.
Acknowledge me.
That's the drop I was looking for. It's our girl Chelsea Green's birthday today. So everyone wish Chelsea a happy birthday.
The Green administration. Yes.
That's right. The red, white, and green.
That's right. Chelsea
Pledge
Green.
allegiance.
All right. Very good.
Right.
Good job
That's
by
all I
you. All right.
Later, bro.
This dude, he loves him some Chelsea Green. I'm more of a Tiffy time kind of guy. All right. So Charlotte Hornets, let's talk about them really quick. What do they do well? Well, they don't do a lot well. They're going to throw up a ton of three balls. Kings are going to have to be able to handle the dribble penetration. They've got to turn this team over, and the Kings cannot turn themselves over. They have been doing way too much of that. If you see the Kings come out with another flat performance, and look at this, by the way, Charlotte, their offensive rating, 29th in the NBA. What's that usually mean? They're going to have a big night against the Kings. It has as of late. But look, this team, a negative 8.2. They should not be hanging with the Kings. They should not. Even with what the Kings have done on this road trip. So here's their season statistics. This is a team that is ISO. That's why their numbers are so low offensively. 29th in the league with offensive rating, 26th in the NBA in overall assists. What do they do well? They offensive rebound well. The Kings have not been good about boxing out. I showed you just a little bit ago how terrible the boxing out was in the nation's capital just a couple of nights ago. So the Kings are going to have to make sure that they take care of that. But look at this. This team is 30th in made free throws. You know what this means? Free throw attempts, 28th. If the Kings tonight absolutely need to make more free throws, I'm going Steve Fisher here. Coach Fisher. They need to make more free throws than the Charlotte Hornets take. Charlotte does not like physicality. The Kings, as Doug Christie always says, need to make them feel them. Need to make Charlotte feel the Kings. So they need to play physical without fouling. Goes without saying. What about the three ball? Charlotte, 11th in the NBA. 3-point attempts, 3-point percentage, 28th in the NBA. They give up the 5th most 3-point attempts per game. So this is a game to me where the Kings cannot fall in love with the three ball. Can't do it. It's got to, if you're shooting the threes, they've got to be inside out, because look at the 2-point percentage for Charlotte. 30th, dead last in the NBA. And in fact, 2-point percentage, they are 7th worst in the NBA at defending it. So you've got to own the paint in this game. And this is a game pace-wise. Charlotte, 22nd. Kings have to just push the pace, run them out of the building. I'm not going to do what I did last game and say, this is a game where the Kings should have every player that's dressed playing, and the starters should not play after the third quarter. Just get the damn win. You're not playing Charlotte. You're playing yourselves. You are playing yourselves. If you can beat yourself, or actually the other way around, if you don't beat yourself, then you should win tonight against the Hornets. Back end of the numbers right there, 28th in the NBA in points. Turnovers, 25th in the NBA. Steals, 26th. They don't pressure the ball well. So if the Kings are turning the ball over, it's a problem. Because this Charlotte team, it's not a steal. It's a giveaway if the Kings turn the ball over. So those are really the only things I can point to and tell you that the Kings need to do tonight. Pretty basic. You are playing a bad basketball team, but unfortunately, the Kings are not a very good basketball team right now either. So as we sit, by the way, the Kings 1 game ahead of Phoenix in the standings. Phoenix is in Boston tonight, so keep an eye on that. Game and a half behind the Mavericks. You do have the tiebreaker with the Mavericks. Adam thanking Tristan for something. Tank for the pick. Look, the Kings are indirectly tanking. What more do you want to say, man? They're indirectly tanking. In fact, maybe they are tanking by leaving Keon Ellis on the bench when he's having a good game. You know, like it's just, and here's the other thing. If you tank, like if the Kings legit like started sitting Sabonis, which by the way, we better get an update on that because he was listed. Sabonis is good to go. He will be playing tonight. LaRavia is your only King out. So take that for what it is worth. If the Kings started tanking and sitting guys out and got fined by the NBA $75,000, there's still no guarantee that they keep that pick. You need help from other teams in the Eastern Conference as well. So more at play than just that. So give me your final scores. What do you think they're going to be? Run through this stuff really quick. Only Ellis and Murray played defense on this team. Well, okay. That is what I was trying to point out to a lot of people on the show. It's not as much of an offensive thing, although I do think it is better for the offense to have Keon start the game. But defensively, Keon and Keegan can switch. That's not something that Monk and Keegan can do. So that makes it easier defensively for the Kings, more flexibility. Tristan.
That's terrible.
Tristan, you're lucky.
He would step across the line. Habitually, he's a habitual line stepper.
Tristan, you are lucky that I am not on the screen right now, my man, that puts the comments on the screen, or else you would be in some hot water with me. You, my man, would have been getting out. Yeah, I'm not even going to say. Kings will probably win back into the playoffs and somehow really screw themselves into a draft abyss. My biggest fear is that I mean this. What is best for the Kings? And I'm not even considering the draft pick right now. What is best for the Kings, I believe, is for the end of this thing to really go bad. Because what scares me is if they were to win their first play-in game, and then they were to win their second play-in game, and then they go against Oklahoma City, and get swept. I am terrified that somebody is going to be in Vivek Ranadive's ear and say, "Oh, Vivek, my man, dude, look, you had so many injuries. Fox from the beginning of the season, Vivek, his finger, you had to fire a coach. You turned over the roster, something that hasn't been done. You traded your all-star, and you still made the playoffs. There's something to hold on to here, Vivek. There is nothing to hold on to this season. So if that vision is already shared, then great. I hope they make the playoffs. But I don't know that everybody sees what a lot of the fans are seeing. And we know a lot of people are in this owner's ear a lot. The Kings don't play defense, and so Charlotte doesn't have to worry about physicality. Well, they do sometimes. That's the thing. Charlotte by 30. Come on. Charlotte by 30. Can you imagine the post-game show with Grant? Can you imagine the show that would be? Charlotte by 30. I mean, I would not be surprised if the Kings lost this game. I would be surprised if they lost by 30. No. She was already in that role. Here's in my heart of hearts, I think she was simply there because the organization is having success. At one time, she was part of that success. And I think she was there to support that product. I don't think it was anything beyond that. But you know what the read is going to be. The read's going to be, she's going to be back into the GM role. Like you're saying, Progressive in Stockton. I don't think so. Gabriel Harris is doing an excellent job right now as GM down there. Quentin Crawford, too. Excellent job coaching. Dude, don't mess around. Those guys buy in. Yeah, Scal's great. I love Scal. Scal is so good. Great guy. So, all right, let's get you out to the game. Enjoy it. Don't forget, Jerry Reynolds back with me. Halftime. We will talk about the first 24 minutes. And Cristobal, you got to hit me up, dude. I got Stockton Kings tickets for you. So you got to hit me up. You're going to end the show? Dennis?
Yo!
What's up?
You got to get the Kings fans hope. We have to keep the pick, Rhino. If anything, we have to keep the pick.
We'll see, Dennis. We'll see. But again, you need help. Dennis, you can miss the play-in and still lose the pick. You need help from the other teams. You know that. We talked about it last night. Did you wink at her, Rhino? No, I did not. We made eye contact. I have met her before. So, but no, I did not wink at Angeli. I met her last year in Stockton during the conference finals. So I don't, she probably has no idea who I am. Let's see. Nobody should go to Stockton. Well, then don't go to Stockton. I'm telling you, you want to have some fun going to a basketball game? You want some King spirit injected into you? Get down there. But we're talking about this one tonight. Kings and Hornets. Enjoy the first half. Jerry Reynolds with me after the first 24 minutes of basketball. Thanks for sticking it out. You made it. The weekend's here. Happy weekend. Be safe. We'll be back at halftime with Jerry. Enjoy the first 24 minutes. Until then, court is dismissed.